So now we can test this functionality, see if it works. Check that the server is running. Restart the server. Go to the browser. Click on enrollment. Click on register. There you get the form. Put in a new username. Click submit. Right, so we have an error here, and that's in our views.py file. So let's check that out. Go to the views.py file, and instead of change data, there should be clean data. Right. Check that the server is running first. That's fine. So let's go back to the home page. Click on enrollment. Click on register. Put in the new user details. Click submit. And now log in. Click login. And there we are. Right? So now you can click log out. And you should go back to the home page. Now, what if the user forgets their password? So let's look at how we can add password reset functionality to this app. Now, the password reset functionality uses certain URLs. So let's take a look at those. We've got accounts/password reset. We've got accounts/password reset done, accounts/reset, and you can see two keyword arguments there that we'll come to shortly. And then we have accounts/reset done. What's important for us is to remember the URL names for these. We've got password reset there, password reset done. We've got password reset confirm and password reset complete. Now, we don't explicitly have to add these URLs to our URL configuration. Why? Because in the path we put in the last session, these are already included. Now let's take a little deeper look at password reset. The view to begin with is the password reset view. This view, broadly speaking, allows the user to reset the password, generates a one-time use link, and then sends the link to the user's registered email address. But the view, remember, is connected to a form. And so the generation of that one-time link and sending the link to the user's registered email address is managed by the save method of the password reset form class. Remember that this view is a class-based view, and we look at the attributes of this class-based view later. There are conditions for sending the mail. The email address provided should exist in the system. The requested user is active, as in is active is set to true, and has a usable password. Now, if set unusable password has been called, then the user cannot request a password reset, which is logical, isn't it? Now, let's take a look at the attributes. We've got template name, which is the name of the template to display the form, and it defaults to registration/password reset form.html. So that is what we have to name our template. We have the form class, which defaults to password reset form, as we saw on the previous slide. And this form, remember, is used to get the email address from the user. We then have the email template name, and that's going to default to registration/password reset email.html. This is a template, again, that we have to create. It will be used for generating the email, which will include the reset password link. We will also include the username there, as well as context. So looking at that context, the email, of course, is the alias for user.email. We will have the current user, protocol, that will be HTTP or HTTPS, the user ID or the primary key encoded in base 64. That is essentially the keyword argument that we saw on the earlier slide. And then we have the token to check that the one-time link that is generated is valid. We then have subject template name, and the Django authentication system expects a text file for the subject of the email. Token generator, this is an instance of the password reset token generator class, and this will check the one-time link. Success URL, That is the URL the user will be redirected to when the password reset request is successful. It defaults to password reset done. So we'll need to create within the registration folder a password reset done.html template. We then have from email, which needs to have a valid email address. And the default, of course, is the default from email, which we are going to use. Now let's look at the password reset confirm view, which essentially allows the user to enter a new password. The form is the set password form that will be used. And of course, we don't have to create this form class. We do have to create the templates though. The URL name is password reset confirm. The password reset confirm view expects certain keyword arguments, which are UIDB64, which again is the user ID encoded in base 64. And it's worth mentioning here that the method that Django uses is the URL safe base 64 encode method. There's another keyword argument called token, and token, of course, is to check that the password is valid. Now, the password reset confirm view, remember, is a class-based view, and there's a dispatch method in this view that will check for the existence or the presence of these two keyword arguments. If they're not present, then it will raise an error and will set an attribute called valid link to false. Now, the URL safe base 64 encode method is used by the save method of the password reset form class to encode this user ID from byte string to a base 64 string. Now let's look at the attributes for this view. We've got form class, which essentially defaults to set password form. We have template name, which defaults to registration/password reset confirm.html. Then we have the token generator, which is an instance of the password reset token generator class and will check the password. Success URL is the URL to redirect the user to once the password reset is complete. And again, we need to have a template called password reset complete.html within our registration folder. Now, as far as a template context is concerned, we have form and then we have valid link, which will be true if the link is valid. But what exactly is the link? Well, the one-time link is a combination of UIDB64 and the token. Now let's look at the workflow. We need to introduce a link in our login.html file. The URL will be password reset. And you may recall we saw this URL name with the first URL that we saw with regard to password reset. So control will go then to the password reset view, which, as you know, is connected with the password reset form class. The templates we need to create are password reset form.html, where we will use that form class to take the email address of the user. Password reset email.html will contain the username as well as the protocol password reset link as well as the token. We also need to create the text file that is for the subject of the email. We need to create password reset done.html, which is the page that will be shown after the user has been emailed the password reset link. Password reset confirm.html related to the password reset view. The form will accept the new password and also the confirmation for that new password. Password reset complete.html is where control will go once the user has clicked on change my password. And within this template, there will be a URL leading to the login page so that the user can log in again. So let's now go back to our code and put in this functionality.